students, we are on the CEC Gurukul lecture and we are in the series of electronic circuit. In this series, we are discussing the cells. In the cell, today we will discuss the part of the biofuel cell. Biofuel cell are producing electrical energy exploiting electrochemical process catalyzed by both the enzyme or whole microbial cells. Although most of organic substances produce the energy under the combustion. So, in the last lecture, we have discussed the various type of biofuel cell, in which we discussed the microbial fuel cell, and we discussed the next cell, which is that we have discussed is the enzymatic fuel cell. Now, today we will discuss the abiotic fuel cell. What is this abiotic fuel cell? This biofuel cell have a strange, rather confusing name as abiotic, and it can be understood as a non-biological biofuel cell. That is why it is a abiotic, non-biological biofuel cell. This contradiction comes from the use of non-biological catalyst for oxidation of biological species. Means we take the here we take the non-biological catalyst for oxidation of the biological species. Like example is the glucose. We use the glucose just for the production of the biofuel cell. So, these biofuel cells are significantly different from the regular fuel cell because they oxidize not only biomolecular fuel but also operate under the conditions compatible with the biological environment. Abiotic biofuel cell can be even used as implantable bioelectronic devices. Means these devices nowadays we use these devices for the implantation in the body. So, we use in the development of the bioelectronic devices for the medical purposes. So, the catalytic species attached to the anode and cathode are usually nanoparticles that is made from the noble metals, that may be gold or the platinum, so that it will be the oxidation free, there will not be the oxidation in these materials. So, we choose the electrocatalytic species are the gold as well as the platinum, often with a mixed composite that we use for the development of the abiotic biofuel cell, in which we take the anode and cathode with the coating of the nanoparticles of the gold as well as the platinum. So, the use of the inorganic catalyst for oxidizing biomolecular is rather trivial, but the challenge is a low specific of the catalytic activity. Now, you see on the screen here what we are having. Here we are having the catalyst. These are the anode and cathode, and you can see that easily then there is a coating, nanoparticle coating on the wall of the anode and cathode. So, you can see the glucose ClCa, GlCa, GlC and moreover oxygen and H2O, and it will work in the same manner, but the catalyst we use of the different type like nanoparticle, because we are using these cell for the biomedical purposes. So, this is the abiotic biofuel cell. Now, indeed the same catalyst could be active for O2 reduction, right, because here we are having a very less oxidation process, thus activating both the oxidation and the reduction process on the same modified electrode. If this happens, the electrode pair, that is the anode and cathode, does not generate the voltage or current, thus being not able to operate as a fuel cell. So, the easiest way to solve this problem is that the use of the membrane separating the anode and cathode electrodes. So, the membrane is used in between the anodic and cathodic compartment, which have the different composition. The anodic compartment should include only the biofuel, as well as the cathodic compartment should use the aerated, means we can use the O2 in the side of the cathode. So, these cathode and anode separated by a membrane, so that it work as a biofuel cell. Now, however, this simple approach cannot be used in implantable devices, so which cannot include a membrane and cannot operate with a oxidation solution. So, in that case, electrode should include the different catalytic species selective for oxidation of biofuel and reduction of the oxygen. So, the catalytic selectivity can be achieved by using the nanoparticle, and that of the different compositions like gold nanoparticles or like the platinum nanoparticles, and moreover just we have the different compositions at the anode as well as at the cathode. So, the number corresponding to the percentage of gold and platinum atoms in the nanoparticles composition is different for the anode as well as the cathode. So, the electrode modified with the nanoparticles of the different composition allowed operation of anode oxidizing glucose in the presence of oxygen and operation of the cathode reducing the oxygen in the presence of the glucose. Thus, without the need of membrane separating the reacting solution. In this way, we do not need to use the membrane, and we separate these two solution. As here it is very much easy. So, that anode oxidized glucose in the presence of O2 and cathode reducing oxygen in the presence of glucose. So, abiotic biofuel cell prepared by this way have been operating in the human serum solution mimicking blood. So, that will be used in the biomedical purposes and being implanted in an orange and the different devices. So, the biofuel cell produce the green energy that representing the cheap and sustainable power sources. Moreover, this is the alternative energy sources. These are environmental friendly power sources. Nowadays, these sources are generated at the in the vast quantity, and it will be used. So, different kind of biofuel cell we have discussed, and they are having the multiple applications. If we talk about the micro and macro biofuel cell, these two kind of biofuel cell used in many purposes. They has a basic application. So, two major kinds of biofuel cell, that is the FEFC as well as MFCS, are usually small size desktop laboratory devices. However, while researchers have aiming at any specific application, size of the biofuel cell and the power produced by them might be scaled up or down according to its use. So, where we are use this biofuel cell, on the basis of that we decide the application of various fuel cell. Significant increase of the enzyme based biofuel cell is not really possible because the technological problems and the cost of enzymes and material and the production of enzyme is the difficult task. So, biocatalytic electrodes are chemically modified with the enzymes. Moreover, electron transfer mediation facilitate electron transfer processes are required in FES cell. So, assembly of these enzyme modified electrode could be fairly easy or sometime extremely sophisticated. So, requiring even the chemical immobilization steps to bind the biomolecules to the electrode. So, the electrode conducting support might be the simple, and it is based upon the sophisticated nanostructure material. So, overall significant increase in the size and the power production, enzyme based biofuel cell are used for the various purposes. So, the enzyme biofuel cell also include the abiotic cell are mostly directed to its miniaturization, sometimes to extremely small size, particularly aiming at their implantable design for a biomedical purposes. And there are the various type of biofuel cell are used and electrodes suggested for the future implantable operation in the human brain, extracting power from the fluid and the power density, just to get the power density. It means that we use this bioelectronic application in the various field, and a simple conclusion could be drawn: extremely miniaturization of the biofuel cell is feasible, but power output is eventually proportionally scaled down to such small value that are not adequate for any practical use. So, you can see this is the implantation that we will use for the brain. So, fuel cell are just prepared for the implantation. So, there are the various application that we use possibly for the biofuel cell, in which this technology is mostly based upon the suspension of microbial cell in fermentation tanks and rather simple electrodes to increase the reacting volume as well as the electrode side is possible, thus resulting in production of the significant electrical power. So, which is having a huge microbial fuel cell which produce a sustainable power approximately 0.1 kilowatt. So, a very large microbial fuel cell with the volume of the microbial reactor of 1000 liter can be designed for mineral wastewater. So, we can see that the biofuel cell can be prepared by the wastewater and that will be processed and then it will be used to just produce the energy. Moreover, micro fuel cell of such huge scale are feasible and its practical use is not to be limited, but because of the high cost and complexity of the operation, it is used in a very few places. So, overall biofuel cell size, power production will be determined its potential application, and it based not only for the technical purposes but also its economic consideration is important. And moreover, specifically if we talk about that it must be the environment friendly. So, most of the biofuel cell are environment friendly, so it will be used for the future purposes, for the cost wise and the other purposes. Biofuel cell not only for the implantation in the human body, but it is also used as a robotic machine, but development of it is used in the robotic machine. As we can say, microbial fuel cell can be used in the robotic machines power. So, robotic machine powered by the microbiofuel cell can be considered as a curious examples. Now, which is not aiming at any real application, but rather demonstrate the potential applications, like that consumes the food in the form of the carbohydrates and proteins, resulting in the power production by MFC. So, we can take the electrical energy generated is considered in the secondary rechargeable battery and used by the robotic machine to push and theoretically conduct some work. It is very much clear in the future robotic systems we can use the biofuel cell, means we are giving the food in the form of the waste material and the waste biodegradable and then it will convert that biodegradable in the energy and the cell, and that cell is used as an energy source for the robot, and the robot will work by using that energy which is accumulated sufficiently through the biofuel cell. So, such robotic self-powered machine might be capable of conducting certain type of start and forget task, stop task, like helping to preserve a particular ecological environment by eliminating invasive organism and possibly using them as a food. This might use as a optic sensors and artificial intelligence software to determine what they can eat for the energy conversion. By using the artificial intelligence, we can make the system self sustainable and self generated. The energy can be generated by the self selection of the material. So the machine that we will develop must be slug bot, powered by the microbial fuel cell and using olive slug as a food consumed by the microbiological system. So, the robotic, that is predator, collects slug which are then digested to recharge it as a battery. Just mean this is functioning like a human body. So, we provide a. Now, you see these type of the robotic are prepared by using the biocell. So, these biocell are used in bioelectronics, which is a multidisciplinary research field nowadays, in which the most challenging innovations are aimed at linking of electronic devices or machine with the living organism, like where as the microelectronic devices act as a biological environment as implant within a living body. Means the implantable bioelectronic devices are already highly advanced and at least in the some medical applications being particularly represented by the implantation, cardio stimulators and other implantable prosthetic devices such as deep brain in the neurosystem, spinal cord simulators, gastric simulators, foot drop implant, like there are the various application in the biomedical purposes where these biofuel cell can be used. So, developing sophisticated biomedical implantable devices will improve the quality of life and lead to modern paradigm of the personalized medicine, and it will just connect the artificial intelligence with the fuel so that the biomedical devices can work more efficiently, successfully. These things can be integrated with the machines of the microelectronic devices, biological organism and that is including the human body, that is also called the that is also used for the medical purposes. So, it requires the energy sources, harvesting power directly from the various processes where just we give in the form of the fuel and that will be used further in the different part. That is the diagram that define the various devices that will be used in the human body for a medical purposes. Now, there is a futuristic vision of the enzymatic biofuel cell that is based upon the enzyme and that is implantable in a blood vessels for extracting electrical power by glucose oxidation on an anode and oxygen reduction on a cathode. You can see in the diagram there is a cathode anode, there is a oxidation reduction at the cathode as well as there is a glucose oxidation on the anode. So, in this manner this is enzymatic devices. So, this power generated system discussed in this lecture and that motivate differently that with this fuel cell that is the electrode base having the membrane it modified with the inorganic catalyst that can provide high volume output and can be used in many application from electrical to mechanical to biological as well as in the electronic purposes, that is used for the generation of the power that as per the requirement. So, biofuel cell are potentially useful for activating microelectronic devices in the bioelectronic or the microbiotic systems, the inorganic devices, inorganic catalyst, active electrodes in the fuel cell that can benefit for the use of nanostructured catalytic species. Inorganic catalysts can be substituted with the metal organic catalyst material. From here we know that various type of the catalyst we can use, it may be the organic, it may be the inorganic as per purposes. For the application of the fuel cell we can use these type of catalyst for the fuel cell. Sometime we require for the medical purposes, so we just coat the electrodes with the nanoparticles so that it will just prevent it from the corrosion and make it the efficient to use. So, the practical application, there is a problem in the biofuel cell, particularly biofuel cell is their inability to satisfy the power, voltage parameter and operational stability required for the specific need. So, for a long time research is required for development of the biofuel cell so that it can work efficiently. It might be more practical to reconsider the fuel cell and the other applications which could be satisfy the available biofuel cell. So, new application may include the self-powered biosensors, self-activated molecule release system, self-operating information processing devices that are required for in the case of the biofuel cell, and how these biofuel cell can satisfy these application, as well as there is a requirement just to interlink with the artificial intelligence more over the human living bodies, so that there will be interface between the biofuel cell as well as the sensor as well as the other devices. There should be the compatibility with the biofuel cell. So, apart from the many applications, biofuel cell are used because of its low cost, because of its environmental friendly, moreover easy to operate, but the output power is less as compared to the other electrical cell, and moreover we use the bio cell for this purpose. Thank you very much.